So for our LBO model, we just completed transaction summary and sources and uses of funds table. And we are going to complete step number 2 right now, which is capital structure. Capital structure refers to the specific mix of debt and equity used to finance an LBO transaction. So let's go ahead and complete that section. I'm going to fly to the cell C24 and my term loan is given to me above in the cell C15. I'm going to grab that. And my notes as a form of debt given to me right below. So all I need to do is shift down arrow and Control D to fill that down, and it will grab the cell down below as well. Perfect. Then my total debt is a sum of the above, alt equals, which is 1 million. And my rates for the term loan is 5%. My rates for the notes is 7%. And I'm going to calculate the rate for the total debt. I'm going to use sum product formula to do so. Sum product formula, as you can see here, returns the sum of the products of corresponding ranges or arrays. So my array number 1 would be C24 to C25, my amount of loan, comma, my array number 2 will be D25 to D24, which is the rates. And then I'm going to divide it by the total debt. So basically what happened here with sum product formula, I multiplied 400,000 by 5% and then 600,000 by 7%, added them to each other, and then divided it by the total debt to calculate the rate for the total debt, which is 6.2%. Perfect. My sponsor equity is basically something else but the debt I took, and it's given to me in the sources and uses of funds table above, so I'm going to grab that in the form of cash. And then my total capitalization would be my total debt plus my total equity. Amazing. Now let's calculate debt by Ebitda multiple. So I'm going to take my total debt above and divide it by Ebitda, which is given to me below in the assumptions in the cell D38. And my debt by Ebitda ratio is 3.5x. So now what I would do, I would take similar LBO or M&A transactions that happened in the same industry with similar sized company and compare debt to EBITDA ratio for those companies as well and see if my result makes sense. Now, as for the annual interest expense, I have my total debt amount and I'm going to just multiply it by the percentage for the total debt, which is calculated with sum product formula, and it will be $62,000 annually I have to spend on interest expense. And then my interest coverage ratio, which is a debt and profitability ratio used to determine how easily a company can pay interest on its outstanding debt. The interest coverage ratio is calculated by dividing a company's EBITDA by its interest expense during a given period. So let's go ahead and do that. My EBITDA is given to me down below in the assumptions. I'm going to grab that again. And my annual interest expense, I just calculated above. So my interest coverage ratio is 4.6x. Generally, a higher coverage ratio is better, although the ideal ratio may vary by industry. So again, what I would do here, I would take comps for similar transactions and compare interest coverage ratio for other transactions in the industry that are similar sized to understand if my interest coverage ratio makes sense for that deal as well. We just completed capital structure calculation. Next is building a model itself and calculating internal rate of return and equity multiple in the step number 3.